Welcome to the ManHOOD Talk Show, where we discuss topics and issues that affect the Black community.
Specifically Black men.
My name is Dr. Lewis Jones.
I'm DJ Damage, aka Abdul Quddas. Man, it's our season finale.
Woo!
A lot of tough topics.
A lot of intense topics, and the feedback that we've been getting about these episodes have been amazing. Thank you all for tuning into this show. I'm at a awe. You know, when I created this show, I had set on a journey to really give the community something that they can look forward to, something that they can learn from. And from the looks of it, you guys are just embracing this show, and I can't wait to see you for season 2.
Yes, and we start off talking about tough topics, right? And this one is no different. We're talking about the division between Black women and Black men. It's time for the conversation. I'm sure everyone sees the ongoing back and forth debate between Black men and Black women.
Daily.
Overall, okay, let's start from the outside in. How do you feel about it when you see it?
I feel like it's a discussion that needs to be had. This is a discussion that we need to have, and we need to really figure out something ASAP, you know? So when I'm seeing it, I just see two groups of people who are literally at odds, you know? And one person is looking for the other person to take accountability, and the other person looking for that person to take accountability, and nobody's doing it. And I think the bigger issue is that nobody knows how to take accountability. Nobody knows what they're apologizing for, because everybody have a similar experience of being neglected, of being hurt, of not being seen. And I think that that's the topic that we need to start discussing.
Yeah, when I see it, it just makes me sick. I'm tired. It makes me worn out. Because I feel like to have these discussions for so long, you really crave the opposite sex. And you just don't know how to express it. Because let me tell you something, if I don't care to be with somebody, I'm not talking about them. But when you talk, it's certain platforms and certain people I see and certain people that comment that talk about this every day. And I'm like, you crave emotional connection and you deserve it. But my thing is, instead of arguing about what you don't get and what's not right, because there's truths on both sides. When the women debate, when the men debate, I can see truths on both sides. The overall goal for me is what we're gonna do to get back together. That's how it is for me. It's like, okay, I heard your truth. Okay, you hear my truth. Now, what can we do to make steps to be more together? Because this ain't working, it's very divisive.
I honestly think that, like I said, the conversations need to be had. And I think that we need to come from a place of understanding. This is a serious conversation that is deep-rooted in white supremacy. You know, it goes back as far as slavery, when the division amongst Black people had started. We always reference the 1970s. And the 1970s is when the Black father was removed from the home and the woman was given resources as far as welfare, and she had to start depending on the system. And then in the 80s, the drug epidemic happened. So either your father was doing drugs or he was selling drugs, and then he went to jail. And the Black woman just felt abandoned for the first time, because even before that, our grandfathers were in the homes and they was providing, and it was a 2-family household within the Black family. But when the 70s and the 80s happened, it was such this divide. And now the product of those marriages and broken families are procreated and creating a new generation of people. And that neglect is starting to just manifest within the new generation. And it's just a bigger divide. And if we don't get a hold of it today or soon, this is going to carry on for many generations to come.
Okay, so this show's called ManHOOD.
Okay.
So we gotta talk about some man topics.
Let's go for it.
A lot of men feel like Black women don't feel like they're important, especially when it comes to procreating fatherhood. Because a lot of us were raised without fathers, a lot of women are going out there, not going out there like they went out there alone, but a lot of children are born, and a lot of the parents, you know, don't care if the father's around or not. And actually sometimes in certain specific instances, push the man away, and a lot of men don't feel important in that realm. How do you feel about that?
I feel that that is a truth. That is a truth. And a lot of times people always say stop throwing out white supremacy, stop saying white people, but we have to be mindful of how this manifested so that we able to, kill it at the source and be able to move forward. And everything you're saying is true, but where do we go from here? And it starts with a conversation, and the conversation that's being had, but it's really about understanding. And I always use the analogy of a 6 and a 9. And I always say that I see a 6, she may see a 9. And I will argue her down about this 6 and she will argue me about that 9. But what I have to do is step from my 6 and go see it from her point of view and start seeing that, okay, she's seeing the 9. She's not crazy. That's from her view, her experience. And then I'm able to better understand her. And then I can have empathy for her. And then I can have, I can go into being a resource to her and being supportive. And when I be supportive to my black woman or my black sister or my black mother, they will return the favor and be there for me. And the thing that we're afraid of is giving ourselves to somebody out of fear of getting that neglect, because we've done that in our households. Like, we run to our parents or our mothers and they say, they push us away because maybe they're too busy or they attended to something else. So I think that when we just step up and say, I'm going to be there for this black woman, she will return the favor and be there for us.
What if she don't? Because that sounds good, that sounds great, but what if she don't? Because there's a lot of men in situations where they're trying to be fathers. And I know you say stand up for the black woman, right? Mm-hmm. But if you're not together in a situation anymore, the priority does become the child. And I'm just only bringing this up because it's the manhood show. We got to talk about topics that men are dealing with. But what if she don't? Because the way resources work in this country, she doesn't necessarily need the man to be there, but there's a child there. So there's a unimportance that sometimes men feel. What will be our advice to that guy out there that feels unimportant, that feels like he's not worthy?
If you love the person, don't give up. You do not see results overnight. Everything we try to accomplish in this life, it is a process, and we go step by step by step. Yeah. And sometimes we might not even see progress that week, and it may discourage us and we may want to quit. But with any process, we know that if we continue to push forward, we will get the results that we want. So when you are dealing with people who just seems not to budge, if you continue to be present, then they will eventually begin to warm up and begin to become more accepting, and then you can build a better bonds. But you gotta think about the trauma that we are carrying. We carrying our own trauma. We carrying the trauma from the environment. We carry the trauma from our ancestors and our people that's here today. We are carrying so much of these people. So it's not gonna be where you decide today that, oh, I love you, you should just take me back. It's more so like a process. Continue to do what you choose to do. If you feel like I'm gonna be here for this person, be there for that person. Even when it comes down to a dog is not gonna just run to you if it's traumatized. You have to really be patient with that dog, and that dog will begin to love you. And that's just human behavior. That's just the animalia behavior, is that when you shape the behavior and you're there for a person, you really get them to trust, they begin to trust you, and then you build that rapport, and then you have a different relationship. And I think that the true testament to it is that who's gonna take the first step? Because a woman like, I want him to step up, and then a man like, I want her to step up. And that's where we're stuck at right now. That's exactly where we are. Nobody's afraid to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many conversations. I hope we got time to get into it. But I hear what you're saying. I received that. And honestly, yeah, if you are in that situation, because we talk a lot about parenthood because we are parents, but some people aren't even there yet. Some people are in that dating process where a lot of men feel like women dating standards are unrealistic. Mm-hmm. They want a tall guy. They want a guy with a lot of money. They don't want to go 50-50. This is the stuff I see on social media. How do you feel about that dialogue in general?
There's a flip side to it as well. Men get on social media every single day, and what we do, I want a big booty female, and I want them to have this, and they need to have no kids. They need to never been married. We have a standard too, and we project that into the world, and it's just everybody doing that. But truthfully, people connect with who they feel comfortable with. So a woman can sit up there and say, I want to be married to a doctor, but be married to a guy who works at a factory. It's all about who they feel that connection with, and that's how people fall in love. You know what I'm saying? So it's been plenty of times that you probably wanted this particular woman, but at the end of the day, you chose something else.
Nah. Oh? I'm sorry. I don't think it's the same. Okay, I don't think it's the same.
I'm just,
But I hear what you're saying, but I don't think it's the same. I think the way men have to live, we have to live more realistically. We can't live in a fantasy world. I can want anybody in the world, but realistically, that's not what I'm going to get. And it's not even about settling. And we don't look at it.
You say that. I don't believe that. If I want you, I can get you. So let's be very clear.
I'm just talking about in general, right? There's women that I can't obtain. I could want them all I want, but it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? So, and if I don't have that woman, I don't look at taking someone else as a settling thing. I think sometimes, and I don't speak for all women at all, sometimes women look at if they don't achieve what they want, they're not going to settle for something else. And I think we all have to work with that word settle a little bit more. I think that's a really divisive word, because anybody I'm with, I didn't feel like I settled for. what's actually, in your mind, what would you consider settling?
I think settling is choosing the best option for you at that time. You know, like I say, we all have a preference, but that preference might not be available to us. Like literally, like think about our grandparents. Like if our grandparents had social media, they probably would not be with our grandmothers. Our grandfather be trying to smash a female in California on his social media in the 1960s, you know, trying to put on the Amtrak to get up to Chicago. Like, you know, like literally, like.
But here's the thing. Okay, look, I'm gonna put it like this for you, right? I could prefer a certain type of woman, right? That could be what I'm really into. But if I'm with a woman that don't have those attributes, I won't feel like I settled. I won't go, oh, I settled for her because she don't have the hourglass shape and the. That's not how I'm going to look at it. And a lot of people don't look at it like that.
It's really important for somebody who has the mental space and the mental capacity to step up and be there for whoever they choose to love. So there are a lot of women. I have 8 biological sisters, and I have 4 stepsisters, and I have a mama, and I had a grandma, and I was surrounded by female energy, which I think probably rubbed off on me a little bit. But nevertheless, I would say that like growing up, these women were so tough. I would say they were so tough. And I remember texting my sister, she's 4 years older than me, and I texted her and I said, I understand you. And I said, I apologize that the world was never on your side. The world did not protect you. And because of that, you projected on the people around you. But in the same token, what you did was be supportive to your little brothers. You was a big sister in so many ways. You gave and you was always there for us. But in the same token, she did kind of project onto us. But I had to put that to the side and say, sister, I understand that you was hurt. And also, I thank you for doing the best that you could with the tools that you knew. And she said, I thank you for seeing me in that light because nobody had ever saw me in that light. And we got a bond relationship. But it took for us having knives at each other in the same household. Like me not understanding my sister, her having her experience, I'm having mine, and we just about to ready to fist fight. To us really having a great relationship as brother and sister. And what I would say before I end is that it took for me to take the step and say, I see you, sister. I see you. I didn't know if she had the mental capacity to come to me and say, I see you, brother. But I had it. So I gave it to her, and it created a space for her to receive it and to give back. And that's how you bridge the gap.
There it is.
If you or anybody that you know that may be struggling with the topics and the discussion that we had on the show, please do not hesitate to reach out for resources. They are available to you.
Man, I can't believe this season is over. It's been an amazing experience. I feel like we're really doing something positive for black males out there.
Absolutely. And for the whole actual community, you know, when I set on this journey, you know, I didn't know that this show would have the impact that it had. And I thank you, Abdul, for coming onto this show and really, you know, sticking it out, you know, having these tough conversations with me because they actually are heavy and triggering.
That's right, man. Look. Until next time.
Until next time. And thank you all for tuning in to ManHOOD, the talk show. I'm Dr. Lewis Jones.
I'm DJ Damage.
And you are...
We out.
We out.
It's a wrap.
Got the heat.
I say black, black is gold, black is night. Black is light. Black is gold, black is night. Black is love, black is light. Black.
Let me take it to a place I'm talking way back when I was watching cartoons next to my white best friend. I told him I was Superman, he said how could that be? See, Superman don't look like you, he really looked like me. So I ran home and told my mama all the things I couldn't be. I didn't resemble all the heroes that were on my TV. She sat me down and fixed me up a warm plate of collard greens and said, young man, stop crying, you're a king. See, when Martin Luther King had a dream, that man was dreaming of you. So don't let them tell you what you can or cannot do. You stay black, bold, and brave within this white man's world. And don't you ever forget your culture for the promise of wealth. Just love yourself and love your kin and love your skin and know your melanin reflects your ancestors' legacy. So whether you a caramel, a chestnut, or ebony, your blood flows with strength and loyalty. Black man.